The Bogey Beast, a Celtic folk tale, as retold by Michael R.L. Kern. There once was a woman who was very cheerful, though she had little to make her so. She was elderly and poor, and lonely. She lived in a little bit of a cottage, and earned a scant living by running errands for her neighbors, getting a bite here, and a sup there, as a reward for her services. So she made shift to get on, and always looked as spry and cheerful as if she had not a want in the world. Now one summer evening, as she was trotting along the high road to her hovel, what did she see but a big black pot, lying in a ditch.
"Goodness me!" she cried. "That would be the very thing for me if only I had something to put in it. But I haven't. Now, who could have left it in a ditch?"
And she looked about, expecting the owner would not be far off, but she could see nobody.
"Well, maybe there's a hole in it," she went on, "and that's why it's been cast away. But it would do fine to put a flower in for my window, so I'll just take it home with me."
And with that, she lifted the lid to look inside.
"Mercy me!" she
cried, fair amazed.
"If it isn't full of gold! Here's luck!"
And so it was, brimful of great gold coins. Well, at first, she simply stood stock still, wondering if she was standing on her head or her heels. Then she began saying,
"Locks, but I do feel rich. I feel awful rich."
After she had said this many times, she began to wonder how she would get her treasure home. It was too heavy for her to carry, and she could see no better way than to tie the end of her shawl to it and drag it behind her like a litter.
"It'll be dark soon,"
she said to herself as she trotted along.
"So much the better. The neighbors will not see what I'm bringing home, and I shall have all night to myself, and be able to think what I'll do. Mayhaps I'll buy a grand house, and just sit by the fire with a cup of tea, and do no work like a queen. Or maybe I'll bury it to the garden foot, and just keep a bit in the old china pot on the chimney-piece. Or maybe, goody, goody, I feel so grand I don't know myself."
She walked, and by, she began to tire of dragging such a heavy weight, and stopped to rest for a while, turning to look at her treasure. And lo, it wasn't gold in the pot, it was nothing but a lump of silver. She stared at it, and rubbed her eyes, and stared at it again.
"Well, I never,"
she said at last.
"And me thinking it was a pot of gold. I must have been dreaming. But this is luck. Silver is far less trouble, easier to mind, and not so easily stolen. Those gold pieces would have surely been the death of me."
And so she went off again, planning what she would do, and feeling as rich, until becoming a bit tired again, she stopped to rest, and gave a look to see if her treasure was safe, and she saw in the pot nothing but a great lump of iron.
"Well, I never,"
she said again.
"And I mistaken it for silver. I must have been dreaming. But this is luck. It's real convenient. I can get penny pieces for this old iron, and penny pieces are a deal handier for me than gold and silver. Why, I should never have slept a wink for fear of being robbed. But a penny piece comes in useful, and I shall sell that iron for a handful of pence and be comfortable."
So on she trotted, full of plans as to how she would spend her penny pieces, till once more she stopped to rest, and looked to see if her treasure was safe. And this time within the pot was nothing but a big stone.
"Well, I never!" she cried. "And to think I mistook this stone for iron. My eyes must be playing tricks. But here's luck indeed, and me wanting a stone terribly bad to stick open the garden gate. It's a change for the better. It's a fine thing to have good luck."
So, all in a hurry to see how the stone would keep the gate open, she trotted off down the hill, till she came to her own cottage. She unlatched the gate, and then turned to unfasten her shawl and retrieved the stone from the pot. Aye, it was a stone, sure enough. There was plenty of light to see it lying there, douce and peaceable as a stone should be. But suddenly, it gave a jump, and a squeal, so great it did, that it jumped out of the pot, giving the old woman a start. In one moment, it was big as a haystack. Then it let down 4 great, lanky legs, and threw out 2 long ears, and a great, long tail, and romped off, kicking and squealing, and whinnying and laughing, like a naughty, mischievous child. The old woman watched after it, till it was fairly out of sight. Then she burst out laughing too.
"Well,"
she chuckled,
"I am in luck. Quite the luckiest hereabouts. Fancy me seeing a Bogey Beast all to myself, and making myself so free with it, too. My goodness, I do feel that uplifted. That was grand."
And so the old woman collected the perfect, empty pot, and sauntered into her cottage, made herself a cup of tea, and spent the evening chuckling over her good luck.